Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for joining me on this March 11th in the Locker Room. I'm Alan Locher. Christine Horn is a Broadway film and television actress who is known to many as the booking magnet. This Bronx, New York native is also a career coach for actors and the author of Playing Small, The Actor's Guide to Becoming a Booking Magnet. With over 20 years of experience, Christine has performed across the United States with the Broadway, Las Vegas, and national touring companies of Disney's The Lion King, and has performed at the White House for President George W. Bush. Her film and television credits include a variety of powerful performances on Snowfall, The Good Doctor, American Crime Story, Terminator Dark Fate, Blackish, Good Girls, Bosch, Mom, S.W.A.T, Timeless, Triple Frontier, NCIS, and Ray Donovan, to name a small few. Although acting became Horn's first love, music was never far behind. She started her own record label and production company, Chocolate Superstar Productions, and released 2 successful projects on iTunes. Her debut album, Walk With Me, and her internationally released sophomore album, Therapy. When she's not performing, Christine spends her time as a career coach for actors to give back to the community that has given her so much. Through her acting, singing, writing, producing, and coaching, she is determined to make a difference in the entertainment industry, and she certainly is. It is my pleasure to welcome to the Locker Room, Christine Horn.
Hello.
Hey, Christine.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for having me.
You are so welcome. I am a big Snowfall fan, and have to tell you, I am. And 1 year ago, basically today, Michael Hyatt, Sissy Saint, sat right here to talk to me. So I'm so excited.
Michael.
I'm so excited you're here. Wednesday was International Women's Day. What does that represent and mean to you?
Oh, for me, it is just, I have to think about so many women who have just paved the way for freedom, for equality, and for me to even do the things that I get to do, and when I think about that, I also think about just the women who I've been able to touch in my life, my mom, my fake moms, aunts, who have just poured into me and been a wonderful example of what it means to be resilient, to be strong, and to be loving. So, yeah.
That's awesome. You kicked off 2022 with roles on 3 major projects: NBC's Keenan, Snowfall on FX, and the critically acclaimed film The Fallout on HBO Max. And you were just cast in Star's Black Mafia family, BMF, as Mabel Jones. It's only March 11th.
Thank you more, please. That's all I say. Thank you more, please. I just give gratitude, and I just listen, Alan, I've been planting seeds since I was a teenager in this industry. And so I tell people, what you see now is harvest season. I am in harvest season. I have been planting and hoeing and toiling and pulling the roots out. So I sit just unapologetically grateful and excited to just do the work that I've been prepping to do, So I just feel grateful and ready to just keep moving up.
That's awesome. What does gratitude how does that play a part in your life?
Well, I would think the better question would be where doesn't it? I mean, it's when you're grateful, you have more things to be grateful for. So that is just how I just operate. Even back in the day when I was working, my 9 to 5 in an office and then my 6 to 10 at a restaurant, like I would just be grateful that I had money coming in, money to fuel and fund my dreams and my goals. So for me, it just feels better. I think everything is a choice, right? We can all find ourselves in moments where maybe we're in a funk or not feeling the best. But then I remember, because I'm a student of the law of attraction, our emotions, our thoughts can be a light switch, on or off, positive or negative. So when I find myself in a place where I'm not feeling that great, I'm like, well, just be grateful, because I know as soon as I board the gratitude train, there's just going to be more things to be grateful for, which just changed my mindset, changes how I feel inside, and affects my reality.
I love that. Spectacular. Love that. Let's start with Snowfall. Tell us about the audition and the role you originally tried out for.
Oh, goodness. Fun fact, I've auditioned for Snowfall every season. Seriously. Wow. So I've lost track, but I can say even in season 4, when I did book it, I had read for at least 2 to 3 roles prior to that, prior to booking Black Diamond. The last role I auditioned for before booking Black Diamond, it was an episode where Aunt Louie and Uncle Jerome went to Arkansas to meet with a friend who was pregnant. That was the last role I'd read for before I booked Black Diamond. And then another funny story is I actually auditioned for Dallas, and the young lady, Taylor Polidor, who plays Dallas, read for Black Diamond. And I guess they were narrowing it down. And then they were like, we're so sorry. Would you mind swapping? We think we want to see you in this role. So we both swapped and booked it.
That's great. Love that. Yeah. I totally remember when they drove off to go visit that pregnant lady. I remember them arriving in the, I remember them arriving in the car. How would you describe Black Diamond?
Black Diamond is, I like to say, she's the brains, right? Poised, very methodical. There's a part of her that is caring, but she's been hardened by just life. But she's a go-getter. She's about her coin, as I like to say, and she's gonna do whatever she needs to do to take care of herself and her kid. And it's not, only thing that's personal to her is the business of taking care of her family and herself. But she's a lot of fun though. I think she's gives that kind of dry humor, but don't cross her, honey. Do not.
No, I wouldn't want to. And last season was great. Last season. What can you tell us about her evolution this season?
Well, this season we get to see Black Diamond and Dallas working a bit closer to Franklin's character, just kind of really being his right hand and being, taking that relationship where we ended in season 4, where he's like, you don't have to chase every dollar you make, like come work for me and there'll be a bit of stability, which is very attractive to our characters. So that's what you're going to see this season, just them always being around. Right. And then, as for Snowfall fans, there's a whole lot of tension going on with Franklin and Louie and some new characters that will surface very soon. So yeah, that's all I can say safely, but we will be around. And it was kind of cool to be like, we're his muscle. We're his
yeah, exactly. It's so good. My husband and I are so hooked. And you mentioned Franklin. Well, what is it like working with? And I might not pronounce it correctly. Is it Damson Idris?
Damson Idris. Yeah, you said it great. He's amazing, and he's so focused. He doesn't. Fun fact for the fans: he does not break his accent. Once he gets to work, his LA accent is on all day. It breaks. He does not break from it. Even last season, in season 4, where his character had a limp and had a cane, he walked that cane all day long. All day long. So he's very committed and very focused. What you expect the star of a show to be. And he's really nice to watch. And he's so committed to what we're all
just doing. A little nice to watch. He is.
He is. Not bad.
And he's a talent.
Yes, so talented.
So talented.
And so yeah, I just love, personally, coming from the theater, for me, I love watching actors who, everybody has their process. So it's no shade to actors who break in between characters. As long as you deliver on camera, that's all that matters. But I find it really interesting when characters really go deep and they're not there to play games. He's really committed to the show. So it's an honor to just be able to share that space with him, because typically he's who our scenes are with. Because
he sounds like Jeremy Strong from Succession, who plays Kendall. Is it Kendall? Do you watch Succession?
I haven't gotten into that show, no.
But there's been a lot of conversation. There was a big New York Times article about his process, and some people were judging it, but because he's very an intense character. But whatever works to make us believe, that's all that matters.
At the end of the day, it's what lands on that screen. I always tell people that, whatever the process is, do it. My process changes from show to show. If when I worked on The Good Doctor and had to cry for 2 weeks straight, my process was different. I had to stay in a different kind of place versus Snowfall, where I listen to different kind of music and I'm vibing a different way, because that's what my character needs.
Yeah, and not only Snowfall I love, but I love Good Girls and Blackish and Ray Donovan. I mean, you've had
Yes.
some great roles. Were you a fan of Snowfall before you
I
joined?
was. I was. That's what made it so exciting every season. And that's what also made it very heartbreaking every season when I did not. Yeah, I was. I have been watching it from the beginning, and I was like, "Ooh, I just something about the cinematography, the colors,
Yeah.
the lighting. It's just we've seen drug stories before. I mean, that's not wasn't the thing that drew me in. It was just John Singleton's the way he approached the work and the way it was shot. I just wanted to be a part
I
of
think it
it.
was
And
for us. We were in from day one. I think it was the time period, the way it was shot. I
Mhm.
mean, everybody on screen is incredible. You know, just hooked us right from the get go.
Yeah, and there's some more as this season 5 continues. You're gonna see if you enjoy good cinematography, you're gonna enjoy. There's so many fun shots. Like, did you really shoot that through a shopping cart? Like you're like watching this, our directors and like our DPs like blown away. So
Oh,
you're
that's
gonna
amazing.
keep
That's
loving it.
amazing. We mentioned NBC's Keenan. What was it like reconnecting with your high school friend?
Oh, it was so special. Yeah, Keenan and I both went to Tri-Cities High School together in Atlanta. And we've been friends for years, but you know, you still have to audition, right? And that was my first time auditioning for his show. So when I got to set, I booked it, I got to set and we saw each other. It was just smiles, like just smiles from ear to ear. We got to set, we were rehearsing. He called his mom on FaceTime, like, "Mom, look who's here." And
Ah.
where's your hat, baby? And he's like, "Okay, we need you guys to come rehearse. Put your mask on, please."
Oh
It
yeah,
was
that's
family reunion and just the scene. That episode specifically is from season 2, episode 5, Hustle and Flow. In this episode, his daughter pretends to have her period, but she really doesn't. So he takes her to the doctor, hoping the doctor will scare her and give her a period shot so she never lies again. It was just ridiculous. So just
it.
even
Almost sounds like an SNL skit.
it did. And the thing with Keenan, he's always had this thing, and I'm sure if those of you who are SNL fans, he he'll almost laugh. He makes a face that where you're the one who ends up laughing. So when we were in high school, he would be that kid. You get in trouble because he started making you laugh. It is just so that's what I had to deal with too on set. Like, don't laugh, Christine. Do not laugh. Like, don't look at his face. It's
And
just
then also HBO Max is The Fallout. Tell us about the character you play and
oh
tell us what the
yes.
movie is about.
Yeah, The Fallout is on HBO Max, and it really is about the aftermath of a school shooting, which unfortunately we've heard way too much about. And I played Mrs. Victor, who's the teacher to the lead character, Jenny Ortega. And this movie started. It was an indie film we shot in the height of the pandemic, and it
Oh
it just
wow.
kind of did good. It went its way, got to South by Southwest. I forgot about it, to be honest, and then I got an alert that it was coming to HBO, and I was so excited. But really, we don't often hear about what happens after these shootings, right? We hear about the shooting, the news coverage, right? We see the visuals, and then that's it. We hear about another
Mhm.
shooting. But this movie really went deep into how are the students dealing with the PTSD of it all, not wanting to go back to the place where this tragedy happened. How are the teachers? How is everybody dealing with this? And so it was a really beautiful film, really moving, really way too close to home. But I was really proud to be a part of it. And it's still on HBO Max, so I hope people check it out.
I'm gonna check that out. It sounds really interesting. Is it based on one particular? I mean, like you said, there's been way too many, but is it
Yeah.
based on one in particular, or just in the
In the
sense of
general, yeah, in a general
general
sense.
sense? Yeah, yeah, way too many,
Yeah.
way too many. Let's go back to the beginning. Who or what influenced you on becoming an actress slash singer?
Well, when you're like in kindergarten and people say, "What do you want to be, Billy?" "I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a teacher, firefighter." I was like, singer, actor, dancer. I just always knew.
Wow.
I was the
Well,
kid. I was an only child till I was 14, growing up in the Bronx, and I was the kid. I had my Casio. I make up late night talk
you're
shows.
Casio. I love it.
Oh, yes, that was my whole band. Right. So I was just always creative. Bless my friends who used to come to my house. They were not interested. Um, be my guest on my show. Like, so my mom saw that. And so she put me in dance class, tap, jazz, ballet, but she always would take me to see Broadway shows and off Broadway shows. And I remember one show in particular, it was a show called Mama, I Want to Sing. It was off Broadway. I think I might have been like 8. And I just remember seeing a little brown girl singing her face off on that stage. And I was like, I can do that. I'm going to do that one day. And my mother tells me to this day, she said, you used to love the narrator. That was your favorite part of everything, which makes sense because even now I love documentaries, but my favorite thing about the documentary is the voiceover narration still at the top.
Interesting.
So it's always been in me, honestly. And when we moved to Atlanta, my mother, when she bought a house in Georgia, she wanted to make sure I was near in the district for one of the top performing arts high schools. And so I went there. And but as far as influences specifically, just everything was an influence. I came out the
living
womb.
in the Bronx and being able to have a mother there who was willing to take you to a Broadway show. That's the impact right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I loved it. So we were just talking before I came on to talk with you, and she says, go ahead with your bad self. When she saw the Deadline article come out today, because I know she just knows the journey, and she was a huge part of that. And I'm grateful because I do know I have many friends and associates who did not grow up in a supportive family or that encouraged creativity or only said, get a real job and do that stuff some other time. That wasn't what my experience with my mom.
Yeah, that's amazing. Tell us about the role of Mabel in the Stars BLM. BLM? BMF,
yeah,
right? Black Mafia Family.
Yes. Well, this character, she's being introduced this year. She is the neighbor to the Flannery family, the main family of the show. And she's recently separated from her husband. And so she really reaches out to the family for, for comfort, for just, she's new to the area. And then she just, like all of us, she has some secrets that we're going to find out.
Love that.
That's all I can say. That's all I can say. But I'm so excited because this is such a different role from Black Diamond. And I'm excited to join this new family and work with, 50 Cent and Randy Huggins and the entire crew there. So I'm excited. I shot one episode so far, so I'll be back probably in April to continue filming.
Does it shoot? Where does that shoot?
Mainly shoots in Atlanta. I think they hop to Detroit sometimes, but mainly in Atlanta. Nice, because I get to see.
I was just gonna say you got to. So even though you were originally raised in the Bronx, you call Atlanta home. How come?
Atlanta, because I came into myself in Atlanta. Like the relationships you make and bond and the way you get to know yourself in high school, I think impacts you in such a huge way. So New York for me it's definitely my foundation, key to my independence. I got conned on Christmas Day when I was like 12 from 2 adults. They stole my money. Like the things only New York can teach you, right? Were necessary because my brother and sister who came 14, 15 years later, very much sheltered. Like they were dropped off to school. What do you mean dropped off?
Yeah.
Like I had to cross that street and take that city bus.
I had to walk through the blizzard.
And hello, school is not closed. So I'm grateful that really formed me for sure. But coming into myself, that what do you call those movies when the kid's about a teenager coming of age? Like it feels like
age stories,
coming of age. So and my life changed when I moved to Atlanta. I met my mentor, Freddie Hendricks. I started performing with the youth theater company. And so yes, so Atlanta is home. So if you were to drop me off in the city, if you drop me off in the Bronx, I just know to go to my grandma's house and my Uncle Reggie's house. But the people I know are no longer the friends I had when I was in 8th grade. Know where they are, So Atlanta, is very special to me.
And tell me more about your mentor.
Freddie Hendricks, man, He has mentored also Keenan, Candy Burris, so many artists that you know, so many artists on Broadway and on the screen. He started teaching at Tri-Cities High School when I was coming to 10th grade. He joined the performing arts program there, was our drama teacher, but he had his own theater company called the Freddie Hendricks Youth Ensemble of Atlanta. And his focus was to just create these amazing shows. And so it's just filled with, again, so many names that you probably know were a part of this community. That we never had a script. There was never paper. We would sit in a circle, and he taught us about creating characters from the inside out, loving yourself so you can love the craft. And we would just go deep. We would be in a cipher. We would warm up together. We would sing together. It was like almost like its own sorority or fraternity. That's what it felt like. And the thing about this group of actors and creatives, because everyone didn't continue to be an actor. Some of us did, some of us didn't. Everyone was talented. Everyone was amazing. So what I know that makes us stand out in this industry now is because we came up from a group that was highly competitive with love, but we were all great. So that would mean the scripts, there was never a script. We would sit and make up songs, or he would come and teach us a song, or we would write the monologues. We would come up, there was nothing. So if you missed rehearsal, that was great for memorization, building character. But if you're like, I want to go to the Erykah Badu concert, he'd be like, okay. But Erykah Badu got hers. You better get yours. And if you come back tomorrow and Saquon Sengler has your part, don't be mad because Saquon was here. You weren't. Wow. He'd be like, I want to go see Erykah. Go. He'd be like, go. But trust and believe, it was real. It wasn't just a threat. Someone was always ready. And so when you grow up with that and that level of just like, I mean, he had a way to see. It was like 100 kids, but he could see each and every one of us and pull out the gift, knew how to whisper something in our ear to make us shine, and we'd win that competition. Like, he just is gifted. And that's why anyone who's mentored with him, even when I announced, when I was on Kenan, and I have an Instagram post and I shouted out Freddie in that Instagram post that's still up, and Kenan responded like, yeah, we love Freddie. Like, he's just a huge part of our. Yeah.
Is he still teaching?
He is, and he's still creating. He's working on a new show called War. He's based in Atlanta now. He spent like 10 years taking care of his mother, who I think had dementia or Alzheimer's. So it pulled him away from the work for so long. So now he's back and pouring into himself. So we all show him love. Next time I go to Atlanta, I'm going to get to see him too, because he's still around. Right. He gets to see all his, we call him, we always use the hashtag Freddie's kids, because we're all like his kids, you know.
Lately, I don't know, it feels like the last couple of months doing the show and some of the interviews, I've loved the shout outs to teachers, and not just saying teacher, but everybody remembering their name because of the impact they made on them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it really, the fact that they're still, you know, we talk about teachers being underpaid, but the impact, look at where you are in your career and the impact that he had on you. It's just, you will hear me
say his name in damn near every interview, because it's hard not to. I mean, truly, it's just, I can't even speak about my journey without talking about him.
Really, I love that. And I love the dedication that so many of them have to, you know, because even you think about it, right? Some of them probably want to be doing what you're doing in front of the camera.
Yeah.
You know, and tried and didn't, you know, but they're still making such a huge impact, maybe even more so than they would have in front of a camera.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, you know, honestly, I tell him all the time when we speak that he gave me, I'll say, Freddie, you gave me the love blueprint, because I take his way of teaching, and that's how I mentor students as well. I mean, I work with people who are, you know, 20 to 70 years old. But I remember the love he had and the love he showed. So I'm tough, but it's tough love. And I'll be crying with my students. I'll be laughing with them. I'm like, look, I'll be like, we don't have time for me to blow smoke up your butt. You need to fix that. That's a hot mess. But let me tell you what you did that was awesome. Right. And let's work on that. And we need that. We need to keep it real with love.
Yeah. Do you say the same thing if they want to go see, I don't know who today, Harry Styles, Taylor Swift?
Right. It's a little different in that, we're not, stuff is not written down, but I do say one thing I don't do is pretend this journey is simple and easy. I'm very transparent with anyone who comes in contact with me, even in my book. Like, I'm like, look, it can be challenging, right? But if you want it bad enough, do it. So my tough love comes in because I'm dealing with adults. So my tough love comes with, well, I didn't do a good job at that audition. I had to work. And then I was like, and that casting does not care. If you say you want to do it and you're going to say you're going to submit, well, then submit your best. Why don't you take a nap or wait till the morning to tape since you're tired tonight? But no one cares. That's the reality. So where you're doing a half-assed job doing this audition, someone is at home working on this for hours and giving their best. So now that choice is yours.
Like Freddie said, there's always somebody waiting to take that part away.
Always. And that's, so imagine that's the lessons that were put in my head at 16 years old. So I needed that kind of understanding. So
prepares you in, no uncertain terms.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Was it a hard decision to leave Atlanta and head to Los Angeles?
Not hard, just there were other things involved. The first time I moved to LA, it was after the Lion King Mandalay Bay company in Vegas closed. I literally was like, I'm gonna go to LA. And so I rented a place sight unseen, rented a room. Shout out to Debbie. We're still friends. And I drove from Vegas to LA, and I wasn't ready. I didn't know what I didn't know. Making Broadway touring to LA, to Hollywood needs some finesse, and I didn't know that. So I just wasn't ready for this.
What do you mean by that?
It's a different world. So it doesn't automatically translate. It translates a little better if you're in the New York market, because the New York market really highlights their theater actors. It's not uncommon to see Broadway stars on Law and Order, right? That's very encouraged. Yeah. In LA, you're like, hey, I did Broadway. Like, okay, who cares? It can feel that
right. Yeah, totally. New York. I mean, that, when there were soap operas here and all the primetime. Yeah, I mean, all Broadway actors worked in daytime and nighttime because it just provided a great, second gig.
It wasn't that smooth of a transition. So it didn't automatically mean, I thought, because I had stars in my eyes, I'm going to get here, get an agent, blah, blah, blah. And that didn't happen. Because guess what? I had a few indie films, and I did like Stomp the Yard, but had a small role in that. But then you need a reel, and they need proof that you're good on camera. I didn't have any of that. So I had to be like, whoa. And I had to just sit, and I ended up moving back to Atlanta. That was around 2013. And then I just reset. I was like, let me actually get coaching. And I dealt with a lot of personal development. I needed to know myself more. I was going through a lot. And so when I moved, I got married. And then a couple of years, I had booked a series for ABC as a series regular. The show did not get picked up. And after that, my managers were kind of like, don't want to consider maybe moving. And I was like, I just got married. So I had to really finesse my husband more than anything, like, because he's never really left Georgia, really, outside of going to the Marines. So it wasn't hard. I knew it was my next. I knew I was meant for more. I think the scariest thing was just like, what am I going to do? LA's so expensive, from Atlanta. So I just saved. I just worked. I hustled, had coached people on the side. I just started stacking money. And then my husband was like, let's do it, because he works in hospitality, so I can get a job anywhere, And so that was it. I mean, so it wasn't scary to make the decision. It was just the logistics of it all, I think, more than anything, because I was going there without a job and, just my savings. And in LA, $5,000 can go really quick. So, but yeah, I ended up I landed an agent my second week here. We got back here 2017 Super Bowl Sunday. And the first show I booked was a show called Powerless. And then the next show that I booked, not even a month in, was American Crime Story about the assassination of Gianni Versace. My
Yeah.
agent's like, "What did you do? They don't usually. Ryan Murphy does not usually work with people he's never. What's for me is for me, and it's just been onwards ever since. And it was just like, I knew it. I knew I was meant for more. I knew
That's
it.
awesome. You spoke earlier about mom's support. What has your husband's support meant to you?
Oh, the most. God bless them. God bless anybody who is in a relationship with an actor.
Well, I loved your post today about the stars thing, about him being there to read with you.
Oh, he bless him. He's a really good reader. Like I've trained him up. I said, you're a better cold reader than some of my acting students. So I was like, but no, he's super supportive. I mean, he has always been. He's always seen me, seen what's possible, has had faith in me. And I think I really proved something to him too when we moved here and I started booking. He was like, okay. Because I was like, I'm not about to have dragged my husband from everything he knew to not work. But he reads with me when it's a busy week or a month. He's an amazing chef. So he'll cook,
Ooh.
walk the dog. We don't have any kids. We have a dog and two turtles. But he'll be that backbone, like for when I'm in this office all day or callbacks or driving all over the city. Like, and my mother often said that. She said, he's like the anchor because my life is so like this. And he's my, and we've known each other forever. We dated back in 2000 for a year, and then we just stayed friends after that. So we've just have this level of comfort, and he just knows me. There's no pretense. It is what it is. So yeah,
That's
but bless him
awesome.
because it takes patience to live with an actor. And he gets more invested when I don't book stuff. He's like, "We didn't book it." I'm like, "Babe, I'll tell you when it's booked." Like, he's like, "I can do this." You get so invested. He's like, "We read for that." I know, babe. I know.
We read for that. I love that. We. That's great. Well, that's good though, and to have somebody to to practice or rehearse with before you go in for it. That's great.
Yeah, yeah. No, he's great. If he's available, as long as he's not sleepy. If he's sleepy, then I go find somebody else. But that's with any couple. You navigate each other and the best times to do things.
And being supportive is, just part of the package.
Yeah, yeah. And it's huge because I also know a lot of actors who don't have that support. People say they can handle, yeah, I love that you're an actor until you have to travel or until, it's pulling you away from something you want to do. It's a very selfish life, I won't lie. I mean, it is. I'm very selfish. My career, like I've been working at it for so long, and oftentimes a lot of, trips get postponed, things get canceled, it happens, but I'm grateful for his understanding.
That's awesome. I love that. Tell me about your Caribbean roots and what that means to you.
Yeah, well, my grandmother Lillian, who is 101 and still kicking in the Bronx right now.
Oh,
She's
Lillian, Grandma
yeah,
Lillian. I love. Wow.
she's born and raised in Bermuda, and she moved to New York when she was a child. And my grandfather is Jamaican, so families in Kingston, Jamaica, Clarendon, Jamaica. So growing up in New York too, such a melting pot, right? Of just
Mm.
and all the things, all the cultures. I grew up around Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and just tons of Jamaicans. Like I knew I was in a Jamaican neighborhood when my high school for lunch, we had beef patties and cocoa bread. Like,
I
so when I
love
got to
that.
the South, I'm like, they don't have beef patties here? Like, no, it's not little Jamaica. So, I just love it. I've had a chance to visit both places. I actually went to Bermuda a couple of years ago with my husband because I was like, before my grandma passes and her first cousin Randolph, he's 90 something. I want to make sure I go and I want to hear the stories and I want to pass down this information because it takes one generation to not talk about it anymore, to not cook the food, or to not take the pictures, right? So, I find that in my side of the family, I'm that person for our Caribbean side, actually. I've been the one who's visited and cooked the food and took the pictures and talked and, heard stories. So it's very important to me because it's just part of my makeup and I don't want to lose it. I don't. I know you and I, before we talked about your connections, so imagine if you stopped talking about it. Imagine if you stopped passing down the stories of your grandma, your aunts and uncles. Like, we lose that, and it's too beautiful a history to.
And having Lillian, who's 101, I hope you've asked her every question you
Oh yeah.
could, because so many times we don't ask and it's too late, and to learn our history. I wish I realized that younger, because I would have asked a lot more questions.
Oh yeah, there was one day, I've done it twice. I came up to New York and it was before I had a fancy camera. I wish I had my smartphone. I did it, but back then I had my old camera, and I would interview her. I just interviewed her and let her talk and share her story. And then I think another cousin did it a few years, maybe like a few years ago, because I was like, guys, like, this is we need these stories. And I guess that's what draws me to interviewing people probably like you too, is I love hearing people's stories. And especially, I understood with my grandma, especially because my grandfather from Jamaica passed when my mother was young, so I never got to meet him. And then she remarried. But oftentimes the answer to some of the stories my grandma shared with me, my mom never even heard, because her as mom, right? And so I was just interviewing my grandma just as a human, as a woman, and just letting her talk and share. And it was precious, really.
Well, I can only imagine. I mean, somebody who's been alive that long, and what it was to be a woman at where the age you are today. Just so different. And so the things I'm sure you learned is incredible. Talk about how important Caribbean and Black representation is, in the arts and the industry that you are in.
Yeah, well, for me, I think I'm getting this question a lot, interestingly enough. I just think representation, period, is important. Just period. And I think
Amen.
That's just it. I mean, we want to see ourselves. Yeah. And it's inspiring. I know right now, the life I'm living, I know I'm inspiring someone. I know that someone's looking at me and thinking I can do it too. Or, wow, she grew up in the Bronx, not from a wealthy family, and look at her now, And I just think that's important. I'm happy to hold space in that regard, and grateful for all the people who've come before me. But yeah, we all want to see ourselves on screen and on stage, period. And so I'm happy to be a part of projects that allow me to do that.
And it really is so important for our young selves, because like when I was young and gay, there were no, interesting or, out characters on television, It's something,
It has changed the world, and art changes the world. Art changes all of us.
Yeah.
Art gives permission, and it educates.
I was just gonna say that, right? Right, and representation in art educates.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So to get to be a part of that is dope.
That's awesome. So you mentioned in kindergarten how you knew, what you wanted to do, but when did you actually know you could sing?
Oh, I'll tell you, it was 5th grade. I did a play called Cinderella and the Prince of Pollution. It's a very pointed question, and I have an answer for it.
I'm amazed.
Oh, no. And I had one line. Mine is, I'm all aflutter, it must be me. I'm all aflutter, it must be me. And I would practice it in the shower. And my mother one day, she said, we joke about it today. She said, I didn't know you could sing. And I was like, yeah, I can sing too. That's why I know it. Cinderella and the Prince of Pollution. That was my line. And I remember some of the other classmates, because they just made everybody be in the play. And there were some people like, you're good. And I was like, mm-hmm. And I just kept practicing. My one line. So that's
I love it. And I love that, to have that still is amazing, and that it's 5th grade. Don't ever forget it. Write that line down in a journal.
Just for you. I want to share with you, because this is a little before that, but I keep these around the house. This is me. missing big old snaggletooth.
That is amazing.
My mother absolutely hates this photo because they took it after recess. My mother was a very put together person, so she was hot when she saw these pictures come back. And she's like, "And you're smiling and the tooth is hanging out." And the greatest thing. But I
love that you keep. Yeah, that's great. That keeps you grounded too.
In my office, there's a book called The Artist's Way. I'm sure many artists have read it, and I was just needing to tap back into my inner child and to honor the young Christine and the things that I haven't done yet and the things that I used to do and connecting to that again. So as a reminder, I was like, "Mom, send me that picture that you don't like." And I got it.
I'm sure she was happy to ship it off
right away.
You probably had it Federal Express.
I have the big one in my office, and I have little wallet-sized ones around just to remind me to keep playing, to stay playful, and to stay creative, especially in the quiet times when the work is not abundant. Like I topped off the year with a lot of work, but I go through lows, 6 months, 7 months without work, and then the way my life goes, then I'll book 3 things back to back, and then they all air, right. And it looks like, oh my God, you always booking. Yes, and there's a lot of stuff I don't. So in the meantime, in between time, I like to make sure I still create and play and write and live a full life, and know that at any given point, I'm living the life of her dreams. So
that's amazing. Who are some of your acting role models and your singing role models?
For acting, Alfre Woodard, Cicely Tyson, Denzel Washington, Meryl Streep, Forrest Whitaker, Nicole Beharie. There's so many. One of my favorite movies to watch growing up, 2 of them, Dustin Hoffman, Tootsie, and Fried Green Tomatoes. I will stop and watch those any day of the week. And then
I haven't seen Fried Green in a long time, but I've seen Tootsie. I mean, what he did with that role.
Oh, brilliant. I mean, and now that I'm older and I teach acting, and so I just dissect it. So many. Yeah. And I do that a lot. I go back and watch some of the older movies that I used to like as a kid and try to see what I see now as an adult, an adult actor. So that's just a fraction of some of them. As far as singing, Donny Hathaway, Whitney Houston, Barbra Streisand. Oh, love Babs.
Who doesn't?
Right,
and Whitney. I mean, what that voice.
Yeah,
that voice.
I've just always been surrounded by music and art, and just always, I feel like enveloped in art and music. Yeah, so many influences.
Tell us about thanks. Tell us about the experience of doing The Lion King, Broadway, Vegas, internationally.
Oh, it was life-changing. Fun fact about, we like telling audition stories here. There was an open call at the Clark Atlanta University campus in Atlanta, and it was an open call for Aida and Lion King, same day, same building. So I was like, I did both.
Which one did you want more?
I didn't even know either one of them. I was just like, sure, Broadway stuff. It's an opportunity.
Singing.
So I did audition for both and never heard from Lion King. Aida, I had multiple callbacks. They even offered me a swing position at the time. I didn't understand what a swing was. And I was like, that doesn't sound good. No, thank you. And I declined it. And my friend Sakan ended up booking the understudy role for Aida that we were both originally up for. And so I was like, okay, I'm working at my day job. 3 years later, Alan, 3 years later, out the blue, Lion King reached out to my agent, says, we'd like to have Christine come to New York for a callback this week. I was like, okay. I went hesitantly. I was like, and got back to Atlanta, went back to my day job, didn't book it. They told my agent, she did great. She's next in line, if something opens up. Okay. 1 month after that, 1 month, they call and say, can you be on tour next week? And it was like, it's my last day. I'm going to need to say adios. So that's what happened. That's the story. I just left and then was just gone. I joined the Cheetah National Tour in July 2006. Never forget it. My first stop was Houston. It was so hot. That was where I started. And
That
then from
show
there,
is spectacular.
it is, and I had never seen it, so I didn't even know what I was doing. So they were like,
Wow.
come, I got to Houston, and they like, come watch the rehearsal. And I saw a thing that said, "Welcome to Christine. She's gonna want to be one of our new singers." But I never saw the show, so I'm sitting there in the rehearsal, and the first thing I see is two men on stilts walking as giraffes, and I was like, "I hope that I haven't walked on those stilts."
You're like they booked the wrong lady if they expect me to do that stilt job. Wow.
Mortified. But then I was like, this show is amazing. I just hadn't, of course, I'd heard of it and saw commercials, but I just never saw it. And I was so excited. So I originally ended up booking it as an ensemble track that understudied Nala. And the way the show works, you do a good job, you're on point. I got invited to one day after I got a year and a half to cover the role of Nala on the Gazelle National Tour, because at the time there were 2 national tours going at the time. And so that's when I got to be Nala for, a few months. And then Lion King, once they invest that money in you in those clothes and you're good and you're happy to keep working, you got to do something really bad to get fired, especially if you're on the ensemble. That's why some people have been with the show since it began. They're still on the show. And then they invited me. I made my Broadway debut in 2008. I got to go to Broadway, which was, of course, a dream.
I'm sure.
I mean, a dream. That first day walking down the aisle as a bird lady on Broadway, I was crying. I just couldn't even stop crying. Some people were checked out like, oh, get it together, It was great. And then they invited me to come. So there were some breaks in between. I would do like, okay, you can come fill in for 8 weeks here or 10 weeks here. And then I did the last 3 months of Mandalay Bay. Somebody had medical leave. And at that point, I was like, you know what? And I even got to go to Germany. They wanted me to be Nala in Germany. And I workshopped it for a week. And I'm going to tell you, I was so happy that didn't work out, because the Germans are very particular about that, how you speak. The whole show's in German. It was very hard. So I was in Hamburg for a week studying with a dialect coach for 8 hours a day. Like, Schattenland, Galum. Oh, gosh, it wasn't for me. But then I was like, the way I operate is, have I reached my goals here? Have I done what I wanted to do here? So when I first got there, the goal was to be Nala. Okay, did that. Then the goal was to get to Broadway. Okay, did that. Vegas, hey, that's cool. I'm going to say I did that. And then I was like, I'm ready for what's next. And I remember some of the cast members being like, you're leaving? Like, this is the good check. And I was like, it's like, yes, but I'm meant for more. I can do more.
It's not everybody, has that in them either, or knows that, or
no, I know,
or is willing to take the risk that.
Yeah. What starts to happen is, as I started, I like to study people get afraid that they'll never book again.
Right.
And it can easily just become your day job that you can be checked out on. You're grateful for the work, but you can lose something or a part of yourself. And I was like, no, I'm an artist. The next thing that I booked when I got to LA was a show at a 99-seat theater where I got paid $11 per show doing the Women of Brewster Place West Coast premiere of the musical.
Wow.
So with some other heavy hitters in LA who just were working in TV, but they like to just work their theater muscle, and you basically do it for free. So I was like, I just need to create. I need to not just go to 1, go to 10, go to 5, go to wing, come out. Like, these Broadway shows are machines, and I'm grateful for them. But I was like, I'm ready for my next. And I'm so glad that I listened to that voice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a lesson right there. Listen to the voice.
Mm-hmm.
I love that you did The Lion King. I was very lucky because I started my career at Disney and worked on the Lion King movie.
Oh, nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, it's a great thing to be a part of, something that means so much to so many.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So much fun. And I'm
well, and just think, what you said about your mom taking you to that show. I'm sure people seeing you as Nala, you have, began the career of some young women.
Yeah. And And that's awesome. I am glad. I'm grateful
I
for
lo-
that. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. Do you have a dream role you'd love to play?
I mean, yes, it's more of a type of kind of character in which I do believe I may be creating for myself, but I'm ready to play with something that I haven't done a sci-fi thriller kind of thing yet.
Mm.
And I would love to sink my teeth into something like that that's really forces me to bring high drama, but it's with you know who I love is Toni Collette. And I love
Oh my God, me
Toni
too.
Collette's body of work. So I just want to pull some things from the Toni Collette closet because honey, she gets it's
Yeah,
just it
she
was like
is.
that's so juicy. Oh, and she's making me laugh. And then it's just like that's someone who I really admire the work that she's done. So I kind of use her as like my bank
Mm.
of ideas of what
Did
might
you
be
start
possible.
her new Netflix show?
I did. I'm trying to pace
Yeah,
myself. I'm like, Christine, just pace yourself. Like
yeah,
I'm on episode 4 now. Because
yeah.
I'm
But
I'll
she
just
is. I will watch any. But that's because of her work. I'll watch anything she does.
mm-hmm.
I am there because of, she has brought it to every role she does.
Yep.
So you're so right. When it's somebody like that who's bringing it, people
Yeah.
will tune in.
Mm-hmm.
So keep bringing it because we're gonna
Yeah.
keep coming back for you. Um, you've authored 3 books. What prompted you to start writing?
I've always liked to write. Even when I was younger, in between making my own late night talk shows at home, I would I would write poetry, short stories, plays. Um, so yeah, and even with I released 2 albums and I've written all the lyrics. So
Music, yeah.
it's always been within me. And that's another reason why I keep this image around because as I've gotten older, part of me had forgot that and started really second guessing writing isn't good enough. Like you used to just write and create. So for me, as far as the books, I just wanted my voice to be heard. I wanted to maybe impact somebody. So I would started with an ebook, and then I did a journal, and then I have the book that I wrote for actors called the book Playing Small: The Actor's Guide to Becoming a Booking Magnet, and that's really about mindset. And I put it off for a while because I was scared. And which is funny because I talk a lot about different fears in the book, but I pushed through it after I shot The Good Doctor in Vancouver. And I started in the coffee shop on some of the mornings I was free. And then I stopped again. And then I went through a lull of work. It was just like no auditions. And I was like, I think this time is a gift. I think this time is a gift. And then I just committed to waking up at 6 a.m. every day to just write for an hour. That's it. No pressure. And I got the book done in 3 months. And yeah,
Wow.
that's it. I just committed to it. And that's how I think it works in my life. Like when I get quiet moments, and I'm great. And that's why I tell people like have other things you're doing. We can't be so
Yeah.
consumed with one thing that we're obsessed by it. So it's a long answer to your question, but yeah,
Yeah, no, I love it. And where
love
did the booking magnet name come from?
well, it's a term I coined for myself. Like I said earlier, I am a student of the law of attraction. I really loved understanding like, oh, I'm a magnet. We're all magnets. We're all attracting things, people, experiences, money to our life. And the more I would study books, Bob Proctor, Abraham, all the books, I'm like, well, if I can attract that, well, then can't I attract bookings? And I was like, hell yeah, I can attract bookings. Well, because I'm a magnet. Well, I'm a booking magnet. And I had a whole revelation here by myself one day. And because I love mantras and affirmations, just as I was saying, I am beautiful, I am loving, I am worthy, I am a booking magnet. And then one day I just started saying it publicly. And one day I was just like, went on a live on Facebook or something. It was like, hey, it's Christine Horn, the booking magnet. And I just started saying it. I just started saying it.
It's
And then
perfect.
I would call people that. So I speak life into my viewers, into my audience. I was like, you're a booking magnet too. You just got to remember that. Right. And so just sitting in it. And what's scary about it, an affirmation, right, is even sometimes you're not always there. It's where you aspire to be, but you have to sit in the awareness and operate from where you desire to be, not where you are. So for me, saying I am a booking magnet every day, put the pressure on, like, well, you better start booking.
Yeah.
to live up to this thing that you've spoken over your life. But I did, and I continue to do so because I'm speaking it into my life. That's no other question. So if I'm not booking the job, I'm booking the room. I'm making fans. Only one person can get the job, but that doesn't mean I didn't do a great job. I know I do a great job. And so that's how that started. So here we are. Like, so I even have a conference that I'm doing this summer called Booking Magnet Live in Atlanta, Georgia, because I just want artists to know like they have something special. And as much as this industry can tell you no, and you get rejection all the time, giving yourself that yes, I think is huge and so super important.
I love that. Love that. Well, tell us about the conference a little more. Where can people find information?
Yeah, thank you. It's the conference website is bookingmagnetlive.com. And so I did a virtual version of this last August because we were of course, deep in the pandemic and praying things just stay cool, get better. But last year we had over 150 people who attended, casting directors from hit shows, NCIS, and all kinds of things. And I just see that there's this need. So I go to conferences all the time as an entrepreneur, these big old business conferences where we get a badge and we're there for 2 days. And I was like, I want to create that experience for actors, something not in a dank artsy brick studio. No, I want to be in a hotel with the things, like just to be this incubator safe space where actors can come, be free to and safe to ask their questions, to be taught by industry experts, coaches, speakers. And I wanted them to leave like, wow, like this is next level. I feel next level just because I'm attending. And so it's going to be huge, and it's stretching me in every way. Every way.
I bet.
But I'm excited about it. And the vision has been placed within me. And I'm going to take my own advice and not play small and go for it. Go hard or go home. So it's July 15th and 16th of this year, 2022.
You need to have a one-on-one sit down, you and your mentor, because
he's on the list. He's definitely on the list.
I mean, he's the reason you're kind of bringing it home there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Crazy.
He's absolutely
crazy.
on the list.
So how long are you now in Los Angeles?
I live here full time. I live here full time.
No. How long have you been there full time now?
Oh, since 2017.
2017. Do you love life in Los Angeles?
I do. My husband does not so much. He don't like it so much. It's a culture shock. We live in the valley, very suburban area. I enjoy the weather and the sunshine. I still love Atlanta. But I don't know. I just feel good here. And I believe I don't ever say anything is permanent. Trust me, I'm a Sagittarius. I will move with the wind. Free spirit all day. But for now, I'm good. So take it moment by moment.
That's awesome. Before I let you go, what's the one piece of advice you would give to someone who's moving to Los Angeles like you do and expecting immediate fame or success?
Well, I will say this. I never say your path is unique. So just because people you may talk to or have seen went through a certain path, like they had 10 co-stars and then they got the guest star and then that doesn't mean that's your path. And it doesn't mean, and I never say never. Anything is possible. You could get here and book a series immediately, but does that normally happen? No. And so the biggest piece of advice I give is the least sexy piece of advice. It's stack your coins, save money before you come here, because it's expensive here, and that just will help in your planning. Plan as much as you can before you get here. And the best way to do that, I mean, some things you just have to do once you get here, even like finding a place to live. You just kind of need to be here. That's how it is. Kind of like, I don't know how New York is these days, but in LA, you kind of got to drive around, see a place, call the number, and then you can get in that place the same day or the next day. So saving money, because if you don't have it, you're coming here for one thing, but then you'll be forced to do things you don't want to do because your money's tight. So it's really hard to be creative when you're struggling to pay the light bill, right? And struggling to find something to eat, and worrying about where you're going to sleep. So I know that's not the sexy answer, but save as much as you can before you move here, and find a group of people who are positive. Positive people know positive people.
Sexy doesn't matter. You gave the smart answer. That's going to help them. Seriously. I mean, it's not, because it's, about longevity there too.
It's about longevity.
You know,
I can relate to coming here with stars in your eyes. And I thought I knew better, but I still was like, I've been on Broadway, I'm gonna be fine. And it was like 2.5 years of crickets, just me submitting myself for short films, indie web series, anything to stay busy doing local theater. But there is tons of opportunity here, but this is the Olympics of acting when you come to LA. And just breaking into the industry in general. I don't care what market you're in, but LA specifically, save your coin so that you don't be forced to do the things you don't want to do, and that you can stay creative and give yourself grace. Have something else other than your act. I know you're focused on acting, but let that be a part of it. Have hobbies, go on hikes. I don't know, just find other things to do, because it will make you more attractive also as a human being. You don't want to reek of desperation. So
perfection. It is such a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you for having me. This is a juicy conversation.
Yeah, I love the conversation. Love talking to you. Continued success. Can't wait to see the rest of your episodes on Snowfall and everything else you do.
Yes. Send my love to your husband. Y'all keep enjoying.
I will. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye, Christine. Thanks so much for joining me. Thanks, everybody. Thanks to Christine Horn for stopping by today. Join me next Wednesday when Emmy Award winner Jeff Branson joins me live. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel down below. Turn on the notifications for reminders of all upcoming shows. I hope you have a great weekend, everyone. And please, please, please stay safe.